Well, hello, folks. How's it going? Hope everybody's doing really good. You know the drill, black coffee and fret jobs. Seems to be a common thing here on the channel. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to walk you through my process of doing fret work. You can go in my playlist too as well. Just go on my channel, click the playlist. I have everything broke up into categories, fret jobs, guitar lessons, repairs, demos, that whole bowl of soup. Okay, so there's more fret work on there if you want to check out some of the other ones I did. I would like to add that I didn't mention this in the videos yesterday when I did actually refret this. Whenever after you pull the frets out of it, make sure that the neck is straight. Check it with a truss rod, or straighten it with a truss rod, but check it with the straight edge, or you can use one of these. Okay, so you can use something like this too. These will span the frets once you get it the right side. They're different on each side. There we go. So if you set that on there, you'll be able to see any daylight under the center, or if there's daylight on the ends, the neck is humped. Okay, so that's just a good way to check and make sure. You can pick these up on eBay, Amazon, StewMac. Pretty much everybody sells them, so it is kind of a handy tool to have. I just wanted to add that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get set up. I'm going to clip these off. I'll get the rest of the tools out and just show you guys what I use and how I go about it, okay? Another thing we need to do on this one is these tuners are going to get replaced. The owner brought me out some Fender tuners. He took off a Telly or a Strat and changed them out for lockers, and he just wanted to kind of repurpose those on this neck, so I don't blame him. These are still good, and they work good, so we will do that as well. Actually, I may remove those first and just get them out of the way, and then we'll clip these off and get going on dressing these frets. Okay, here we go. Okay, we got the tuners out. I'm guessing we're probably going to have to re-drill these holes to put the Fender ones in, but it is what it is. And I know some people are skeptical about that, because then once you drill the holes, you're kind of committed to that, which it's not always true. I mean, not that you want to, put these cheap tuners back in, but if you run into a situation where somebody's drilled them out bigger or too big, you can always plug those back up and then glue them in, with dowels or whatever, and then re-drill. It's not the end of the world, but I just wanted to pass that along. I will shoot a video on the installation of the tuners when I put them on. These are the old style Fenders that have the two little alignment studs on them. I'll show you how I go about that too. Okay, let's clip these fret wires off and get right to it. Alright, so I'm just using a pair of cotton dikes here. These work pretty good for me. I mean, you can use bull nose cutters too. I've done it both ways. It really doesn't really make much of a difference. In the end, you still have to do a bunch of filing and that kind of stuff. So, just nip them off and get them up close. That's really all you can do, okay? And like I said, I'll show you how I tackle it from here. I still had a piece in there, I guess. Okay. Again, there's still some sticking out here, which I will address with a file, multiple files, and we'll go through all that too. Okay, so, there's still some sharpies there, but it should file down pretty quick. It usually does. It just takes some time. Get rid of these little nibs that you nip off your frets too. You don't want those laying on the bench. You don't want them on your floor. They can really wreak some havoc on a guitar finish, is my point. They're really sharp too, so be careful handling them, that kind of thing. And it's just good practice. It really is. If you have pets or animals around, you don't want these on the floor either, because they can wreak havoc on your pet's feet and yours. So I just try to keep those picked up. Okay, moving right along here. Well, I hope everyone's doing good, like I said, and I just wanted to say thanks again to all the support I've been getting here. I've been picking up subscribers literally every hour, it seems like. Since I hit the 1,000 mark, it's been just really going crazy. I think I picked up over 30 yesterday, something like that. It was pretty big number for me. Just running a small little channel, and I'm a nobody, obviously, but I don't think you have to be a rock star to relate to people, and especially doing this kind of stuff. No matter who you are or what guitar you own, or guitars, I should say, the repair work's not really going to change as far as I can tell. I mean, it doesn't matter if this was a vintage Fender neck or a cheap neck, it's going to be the same process. So we got those clipped down, and we're going to get out the files right now, and we'll walk you through that. And it's kind of a tedious process, but this is just how I go about it. Okie doke, folks. Well, let's talk about the tools just for a second that we're going to be using. There are some necessities that you really need. These are kind of cool. A friend of mine gave me this. It works really well. It's like a piece of, epoxy or some sort of hard plastic, Teflon maybe. I'm not really sure what the stuff's made out of, but you can see one file is at a perfect 90 degree and the other one's angled. So basically what happens here is you set this on the frets. It rides across the top of the fret wire, and it files the sharp ends down. And what I'm talking about is these right here, okay? So you're going to have to flush these down to the wood. Now, I do recommend these, but I want to point out something to you, okay? Now, if the fretboard has a pretty pronounced radius, this isn't too bad. I know that's a little hard to see, but if the fretboard's, radiused quite a bit, you have to be careful of something, and that is this thing being at an angle. Because what'll happen is the file will dig into the wood in the side of your fretboard, so you really have to be careful. And it does make a difference how much this, dips away on the profile of the back of the neck. So you really have to, do it in increments, take your time, stop, and look. That's the most important thing. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can just get a regular, half-round file. And I recommend getting a long one like this. That spans a lot of frets at once, okay? So that's probably what I'm going to use at first. I may knock some of it down with this. I did, the first 10 fret jobs I did, maybe even more than that. I used nothing but this and a flat file, okay? Now, you should have a crowning file too. Now, these may not need to be crowned, but I do use these on the edges after I get them flush to the wood, and I'll go over that with you too. So, this is an inexpensive one. They make a bunch of different, crown files that you can get. I've used most of them, and they're all really good. I just, I don't know, I dug this one out. I use these still quite a bit. This is a necessity too. This is a safe edge file, okay? So you can see the top here is flat, and that's squared off basically at a 90. When you flip the file over, it has a rounded side, or a safe edge, okay? So basically what you're going to do with this, there's teeth on the file, and there's no teeth on the bottom, and there's none on the top. But what you'll end up doing is you take the squared off side after you get these flush to the fretboard, and you're just going to take the very sharp corner off with the squared off end here, okay? And then you flip it over, and you have a safe edge on this side as well, and that will get the upper part of the fret wire, okay, or the side, as if you will. And a lot of guys will tape these off, which if you haven't done this a lot, I do recommend that, because especially when you use the squared side, you can leave a little mark here. You have to be careful about that. It's not the end of the world, but if it's a brand new guitar or something that somebody's worried about, or a vintage guitar that you don't want to put any marks in or anything like that, that's just good practice too. So those are basically the tools that I use to go about this. Another thing you should have is a fret rocker, okay? And that's just to, you want to span 3 frets with it. That's why there's all kinds of different sides. There's a long side for doing your frets down here. That one's got a little rock to it, see? So we'll check them as we go, and as you get up the fretboard, you have to use, the shorter sides. And again, this is just to see if the frets are level, and it, I don't care how good you clean the slots out or what have you, you're always going to get a couple that are kind of bumped up or a little high, and it happens. So what do you do about that? Well, you could try pressing them with a fret press or the vice grip version, and then hit them with a little thin super glue on the side, and that will do it. If they are already down, then sometimes you have to, level them off. So I'm going to dig out my little sanding beam and show you that, and, just explain how to do that for you, okay? Okay, so what we have here is just a little sanding beam. This is sandpaper that's inside it, so you can change out the sandpaper. It has 4 sides on it, different grit and whatnot. So basically you would lay this on there and just go across it, and you can kind of even feel the high frets. You can hear them. You'll hear like a clack, like a train track, and that's a good way to tell. It's also good to wipe a little magic marker on the top side of each. Then you can tell what you're removing, which frets are higher than the others, that kind of thing. And always keep checking with your fret rocker. If you have to file these down a lot, which is not optimum, but sometimes you have to take some off. If they're not all high, if there's only just a couple, I would address those with just a flat file maybe, and knock some of the edge off, and keep checking with a fret rocker. And if you do flatten the crown off, then you need to re-crown your frets. Now these are concaved, okay, and they have like diamond teeth in them. Now one side is more pronounced than the other, so you have to use that according to the fret wire size that you're using. So pretty much that's it. What I'm going to do now is probably start out, I think I'm going to start with this file first and knock some of the big stuff down. And once you get the heavy lifting done and you get it down close to that, then you can take a different smaller file, finer tooth, and kind of just blend that in from there. And be really careful. You don't need a ton of pressure, and keep looking. Take a few strokes, look at it, and you're going to be able to feel these with the file too. There's a lot of touch and feel involved in this, and the more you do it, the more you kind of notice it, and you'll be able to figure out, if you're doing too much or not enough. And again, just take it really slow. If you haven't done this, find an old neck or an old guitar and practice on that. Okay, so let's get set up here, and I'm going to knock some of these down and get them straightened out, and hopefully I can finish this up, today, and then maybe later I'll mount the new tuners in, and should be good to go. Now, I have carpal tunnel really bad in my right hand. If you guys have carpal tunnel, don't try to do this all at once. Just do a little bit. If your hand starts going numb, it's probably a good time to stop. Again, you don't have to blast this out in 20 minutes. It takes a little time and a little effort. Sometimes it's good just to walk away from it. It's really taxing on your hands. I'm just going to let you know that right up front. All right, here we go. Enough talking. Okay, folks, you may want to cover your ears and turn your sound down a little. A lot of people don't like this sound, but this is what it is. Now, when you first start this, just lightly drag it. You're going to find if there's any that are really pronounced and sticking out. So this is my first approach right here. Make sure you don't have your file tilted and getting into the wood. Again, if you run into one that's sticking way out, then concentrate on that one for a second. Take a couple little strokes across it, and it's just best if you can make a full pass across. Now this takes it down pretty quick. So again, keep looking, pay attention. And make sure the angle is correct. You don't want to be like this, because you don't want to file the ends off at too much of an angle. When this is strung up, you want the strings to be, not close to the edge. You want to have them in a little bit, because that way, and if you angle them off too much, then when you go to grab a string or play a chord, sometimes the string will drop off the fret, and that's not good. So I try to leave as much playing field on the frets as I can, and then just try to dress the ends off, without trying to inhibit the fret wire too much. And you definitely don't want to go in past the edge if you can help it. Okay, so back to it. Okay, so once you get them, kind of all on the same level here, it goes pretty easy, and you won't have them hanging up and running into them with the end of your file. So I'm going to work those down a little bit more, flip it around, do the other side, and then we'll get probably going with the smaller file here. Try to get them in a little closer, and then I'll take the crown file and just touch the edges here. So I'll show you that in a second. I also wanted to point out that, you can stand the neck up too. It just makes it a little easier to see if you're digging into the wood or if you're beveling them off that way too much. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, guys, another Another tip I want to share with you is this. If you do get one of these tools, okay, you've got to be really careful. If you hit a fret wire that's sticking out, sometimes these can jump. And when that jumps up across there, I'm going to probably file this edge down because it is toothed. And if that jumps up and you run across the tops of the frets with that, it ain't good. Okay, so I've got them knocked down pretty good. I think I'm going to take them in the rest of the way with this file right here. And this is a nice brand new sharp file, so it cuts pretty quick. And it's kind of a fine-toothed file as well. Now I still got a few that I can see that are sticking out pretty much. Well, quite a bit more than the others. These ones down here, because you can't get such a long stroke with the big file because of the headstock. So I'll probably just address those individually. It may be just something like that, just to kind of get them close. And that way I can, you know, keep running down the whole side of it. Now, if you feel it hit your file, then you know it's sticking out, obviously. Another good practice is to look. I don't know if you guys can see this, but if you look on the... I don't think you can. Yeah, you can. You can see a little bit of daylight. It's tough to catch it on camera, but when you're actually doing this, you can see daylight between the end of the fret wire and the file and the edge of the fretboard. So it's kind of a nice thing just to keep that in mind and keep looking at it. When you see that gap closing up, then you know you're getting close and you really got to pay attention, okay? So once we get to that point, the next thing will be probably to take this crowning file. I'll just go over the edges like this and just get them rounded. I don't come way back in here. I just want to touch the ends when they get there. Then it'll be taking this file, going down each edge all the way down. Same thing this way. And then we'll flip this over and use the safe edge. Do the same thing again. And then sometimes I'll actually take a file and just touch the very edges if the crowning file didn't do what it was supposed to or do what I wanted it to. So that's basically it. Now, again, as you get going, or as you get these down, go back and check them. You know, make sure one didn't lift up. Now, that one is a little high, but it's not really... it might be up just a hair on that edge. So, you know, check them all the way across. Now, it's pretty good right in the middle. I got a little rock there. It's mostly there. So, you know, that one might not have seated well. I might have missed it. So I can see maybe another one there. Now, if that happens, what you can do is try to drive it down or press it down. If that doesn't get you there, take your soldering iron, heat that up a little bit, and then press it down, okay? And that should take care of it. I've had to do that a few times, too. That's why I like to really, I like to install the fret wire first, and then, you know, let that dry. If you glue them, let it dry at least overnight, and then when you come back, you can start, you know, nipping them off and filing them down. I don't like to do it when the glue isn't dry, just in fear of, you know, the file and the cutters, you know, lifting and moving the fret wire. Now, that could have happened down here on this end, too, because they did look pretty good to me when I put them in yesterday. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it don't. So that's just something to keep in mind as you go along. And this should come out pretty good. The frets look to be quite level from what I can see. So we'll just keep filing our lives away, and eventually we're going to get there. You know, another little trick too I will use sometimes is I'll take this sanding beam after I get them close and just touch the edges like this, and even run it down the edge of the fret wire sometimes just to smooth off the rest of it, and that works pretty good too. So in any case, folks, that's pretty much my method on how I go about doing fret jobs. And you can go back in my playlist, like I said before, and check all that stuff out. There's a bunch of them in there. Now, this has a brass nut, too, so we may have to actually make a shim to lift the nut up. I'm guessing these fret wires are probably a little taller than what was in it, but they feel good already, and I think it's going to make this play really nice. Okay, folks, well, that's probably going to be it on this fret job. I may shoot a video on doing these tuners, just show you a couple little tricks that I use, and a couple tools that I use as well to do it. So I think we're going to wrap this one up for now, and I got a lot of filing and sanding to do, so I'm going to take a break, though, and kind of rest my hand. And, I'll come back in 15, 20 minutes and do a little bit more. And it's just the way I have to go about it. Like I said, just from the carpal tunnel thing. So, if your hand starts to hurt or go numb or anything like that, stop, take a break. And, don't try to do it all at once. And, that might save you from having to deal with this kind of thing. It really is taxing on your hands, your wrists. So, just take your time. Do the best you can. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. And I hope this really helps you guys out. And good luck with your fret jobs. If you're going to try it, like I said, maybe try it on an older guitar or something that's, nothing of extreme value. Just remember, too, if you mess up, you cut one too short or whatever, you can always pull it back out and put a new one in. So just keep that in mind. It's not the end of the world. They make this stuff every day. It's cheap. It's like, I don't know, $13, $15 for a set of 24 all cut. So it's not the end of the world. But, if you can, try to do it without making mistakes, and that just really comes from taking your time and, figuring out the technique. And, it just takes a little bit of time and effort and elbow grease, and pretty soon you'll be a pro at it, I'm sure. Okie doke, guys. Thanks again so much for watching. Welcome to all you new subscribers. I can't even keep up with it anymore. It's just going crazy, which is a good thing, I guess. I never expected this channel to take off like this, but things are still really starting to move forward. So let's keep it going, and I'm going to try to do my best, and I hope this really does help you guys out. Best of luck. Be good. Okie doke.